How is acid rain caused? Here, because of the burning of fossil fuels, we get oxides of nitrogen and sulfur. These oxides then dissolve in rainwater to give acid rain. So the first point we need to write is the fossil fuels like coal and petroleum contain small amounts of nitrogen and sulfur. Second point, when these fuels are burnt, nitrogen and sulfur too are burnt, and this produces different oxides of nitrogen and sulfur. Now, these oxides then dissolve in rain to give rise to acid rain. Write two uses of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is used to make shells of marine animals. It is also used in photosynthesis. List the importance of oxygen gas. Oxygen gas we know is used in respiration, where food is oxidized by living organisms to give energy. It is also used in combustion. Combustion burning requires oxygen. Now, ozone is used to prevent the ultraviolet light from entering the atmosphere. And because it prevents this ultraviolet light from entering the atmosphere, it reduces skin cancer, some eye disorders, and many of the microorganisms also get killed by the UV light. So ozone prevents all this. What causes winds? The uneven heating of Earth's atmosphere causes winds, because in one place, if it is hot, in that area you will have low pressure because the hot air rises, and because hot air rises, it will be low pressure. And if in another area it is cold, and cold air is heavy, it settles down, and because it settles down, there is high pressure, and due to this difference in pressure, air now moves from high pressure to low pressure, causing winds. So the uneven heating of the Earth's atmosphere is the main cause of movement of air, that is wind. List two methods for preventing soil erosion. Aforestation. Growing trees. Maybe growing trees, growing grass will prevent afforestation because the roots hold the soil. Another way is of preventing soil erosion is terrace farming, cutting the hill into terraces, so step farming. Also prevents soil erosion. Building of bunds along the field or the rivers will prevent the water or prevent the soil erosion. List two effects of increase in the amount of carbon dioxide in the air. Because of the increase in carbon dioxide in the air, there is increase in temperature, the greenhouse effect increases, This is because carbon dioxide traps the heat. This will result in increase in temperature, in the atmospheric temperature. And because of this increase in atmospheric temperature, you will see the melting of glaciers and a change in weather patterns. It will also result in increase of smog because of the unburnt carbon. List 4 activities that will lead to air pollution. One is combustion of forest or combustion of forest or fossil fuels. Industrialization, forest fires, clearing of forest, deforestation, even dairy farming is now proven to be a cause of pollution. Transport, especially air transport, aviation, is a big cause of air pollution. What is soil erosion? Soil erosion is the removal of topsoil by agents like wind and water, or shifting of the topsoil from one place to another by agents like wind and water. So give 4 activities that cause soil erosion. One is deforestation, overgrazing, also some methods of agriculture also could cause soil erosion. Keeping the land barren for some time would cause soil erosion. Overflow of water also causes overflow of water, like flooding, will also cause soil erosion. What is the role of atmosphere in climate control? The one point you will write is atmosphere, it acts as a blanket around the earth, and hence during the day it shields off the extra heat from the sun. And this keeps the average temperature low, doesn't become very hot. And during the night, at night, it prevents the escape of heat. From the atmosphere, and hence keeps us warm. Keeps us warm. So the average temperature is maintained because of atmosphere. It does not get too hot during the day or too cold during the night. So here's from the textbook. Atmosphere, the covering of the earth, is like a blanket. The second point you need to write, it is a bad conductor of heat. It keeps the average temperature of the earth fairly steady during the day and even during the course of the whole year. It gives a steady temperature. The atmosphere prevents a sudden increase in temperature during the daylight hours, and during the night it slows down the escape of heat into the outer space. What is the percentage of nitrogen and oxygen? Now, nitrogen is about 78% and oxygen is around 21% of the atmosphere. Mention two ways in which carbon dioxide is fixed in the atmosphere. So one way is green plants convert carbon dioxide into glucose in the presence of sunlight. This is the process of photosynthesis. And the second way, many marine animals use carbonates dissolved in the seawater to make their shell. And remember, carbonates contain carbon, use carbon dioxide. Carbonates are made with the help of carbon dioxide. So these are two ways where carbon is fixed in the environment. Name two forms of oxygen in the atmosphere. So two forms of oxygen is, one is oxygen, elemental oxygen, and O3, that is ozone. And this is the normal oxygen gas that we talk about, we use for respiration. The next, write biotic and abiotic components of the environment. Now, biotic are the living components. Example, plants and animals, other microorganisms. And then we have the abiotic. Abiotic are the non-living. Example, soil, water, air. What is greenhouse effect? Some gases prevent the escape of heat from the earth. Now, an increase in the percentage of such gases in the atmosphere would cause the average temperature to increase worldwide, and this is called greenhouse effect. Now, carbon dioxide is one of the greenhouse gases, and an increase in carbon dioxide content in the atmosphere would cause more heat to be retained by the atmosphere and lead to global warming. And this global warming would lead also to change in weather patterns. It would lead to flooding, more rainfall, so flooding, increased rain, increase in the number of storms, the sea level would increase. We have the melting of glaciers that would take place. Write the composition of soil. Now we see soil is a mixture, and soil consists of rock particles, humus, that is dead decaying matter, and microscopic organisms. So we just read it in the text. Soil is a mixture. It contains small particles of rock. It also contains bits of decayed living organism, which is called humus. It also contains microscopic life. The next is, on what basis is a type of soil decided? The type of soil is decided by the average size of the particle found in it, and the quality of the soil is decided by the amount of humus and the microscopic organisms found in it. So the type of soil depends on the size of the particles present in it, and the quality of soil depends on the amount of humus present in it. Explain soil formation. Here, over long periods of time, thousands and millions of years ago, the rocks near the surface of the earth are broken down by various physical, chemical and biological processes. The end products of these breaking down is fine particles of soil. So the large rocks broke down into smaller particles, and that was soil. Now this breaking down was done by the sun. The sun heats up the rocks during the day, so they expand. At night, these rocks cool down and they contract. And this expansion and contraction, this uneven expansion and contraction causes cracks in the rock. Another factor is the water. Water helps in the formation of soil in two ways. Water could get into these cracks in the rocks formed due to uneven heating of the sun. If the water later freezes, it causes the cracks to widen. And another second point is the flowing water. Flowing water also breaks down the rocks into soil. Then we have the wind. In a similar process, the wind also, just like water, it rubs against the rocks and wears them down. Strong winds also erode rocks down. Then we have the biological way, which is the lichens. The lichens grow on the surface of the rocks. While growing, they release some certain substances that cause the rock surface to powder down and form a thin layer of soil. Some small plants like moss are able to grow on the surface now, and they cause the rock to break up further. The roots of bigger trees sometimes grow into these cracks in the rocks, and as the roots grow bigger, the crack is forced bigger. Now, what is topsoil? Topsoil is the topmost layer of soil. Topmost layer. Why this topmost layer is important? Because it has humus, it has all the nutrients present for the plants, it has got these bacteria or the microscopic organisms present in it, which helps the growth of the plant. So it is very important, the topsoil. What makes the biosphere a stable system? Here the biosphere, due to the constant circulation of matter and energy between the biotic and abiotic components. The constant circulation of matter, of energy between the biotic and abiotic makes the biosphere stable system. Basically here we're talking about the biogeochemical cycles. These biogeochemical cycles make the biosphere stable. Now the next question is, what happens when the components of biosphere interact with each other? When they interact with each other, there is a transfer of matter and energy between the biotic and abiotic components. Where is the ozone layer found? The ozone layer is found in the upper reaches of the atmosphere, in the upper layers of the atmosphere. The next is, what is ozone hole and how is it caused? It's the regions in the atmosphere where there is an absence of ozone is called the ozone hole. And how are these ozone holes caused? It's because of excessive use of CFCs, which is chlorofluorocarbons. fluorocarbons. They destroy the ozone layer. What is the harmful effects of ozone depletion? Now, ozone prevents the UV light from entering into the atmosphere. So if the ozone is depleted, the UV light or harmful radiation will enter into the Earth's atmosphere and when these radiations enter into the atmosphere, they will cause skin cancer, eye disorders. They will kill many microorganisms. Many of the microscopic organisms will be killed by this UV radiation. Sun as a natural force helps in formation of soil. Explain. The sun heats up the rocks during the day, so they expand. At night, these rocks cool down and they contract. Since all parts of the rocks do not expand and contract at the same rate, this results in the formation of cracks, and ultimately the huge rock breaks up into smaller pieces. What are the harmful effects of water pollution? One, it makes water unfit for usage, for human usage, unfit for drinking or even for using for other purposes. A second, it would kill the microorganisms in the water bodies. It could also affect other aquatic animals. The pollutants could enter into the life cycles. If water bodies are polluted, this would also affect agriculture. The temperature inside a glass enclosure is higher than that of the surrounding. Give reason. Heat is trapped by the glass, and hence the temperature inside a glass enclosure will be much higher than the surrounding. How is this phenomena utilized by cold climate countries to their advantage? This phenomena was used to create enclosures where tropical plants could be kept warm during the winters in colder climates. Such enclosures are called greenhouses. So here we have these greenhouses wherein they are made up of glass, and the heat that enters into this glass cannot escape. So it becomes quite warm inside these enclosures, and because it gets warm, we can grow tropical plants. Name some greenhouse gas. We have learned carbon dioxide, methane, this is methane, and carbon dioxide are some greenhouse gases. What are biochemical cycles? The constant interaction between biotic and abiotic components of biosphere, which involves the exchange of matter and energy, is called biochemical cycles. Name the gas that is incorporated into life forms during photosynthesis, and that is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is converted into glucose during photosynthesis and it enters the life forms.